All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Crash Course episode number 4, Trigonometry. We're going to construct and examine various parts of a unit circle. We're going to learn how sine, cosine, and tangent can be read and how a unit circle can be constructed from just using your brain, a pencil, a piece of paper, compass, and a protractor. We're going to do it all in under 4.5 minutes, starting in 3, 2, 1, go. So we're going to construct a unit circle, and we're going to do that on a blank piece of paper. All we're going to use is a compass, protractor, pencil. Let's get to it, right? So taking a blank piece of paper, put our dot, that's the center, make our circle. Now, the unit circle is on a coordinate plane, and the center of the circle is at the origin. So to the right is the positive x-axis, and to the left is the negative x-axis. Perpendicular to the x-axis is, of course, the y-axis. So up is positive, down is negative. Got all that. It's wonderful, right? So the origin is right there at the center. Now, where the circle intersects the positive x-axis, well, we have a coordinate right there. It's 1, 0, because the radius of this circle is 1. That's 0 degrees. So we can see the cosine of 0 degrees is 1. The sine of 0 degrees is 0. So let's go ahead and plot our 3 angles that are in the first quadrant. We have our 30-degree angle, and here's our 45, and then we have our 60. Now those angles are written on the inside because on the outside is where you typically write the coordinate. What's the coordinate of that line on the coordinate plane, right? The coordinate of that point. So let's go ahead and take a look at this 30-degree angle just to make sure we're 100% certain how this works. So I'm going to draw a triangle with a hypotenuse of 4 inches, and I'm going to make it a 30, 60, 90 right triangle. So I'm going to verify that 90 degrees works. So this short side, opposite of 30 degrees, should be 2 inches. Boom, it is. That's half of the hypotenuse. Sine of 30 degrees is opposite, which is the short side, 1/2 of the long side. So it's going to be 2 or 4, which is 1/2. Y is the coordinate of y is the sine of that angle. The coordinate of x, that's the cosine of that angle. So we can just look right here and we can see all of those trig values for sine and cosine of 30, 60, and 45. If we continue on here to the second quadrant, we have our 30 degrees plus 90 is 120, and then we have 135 and 150. Now, those aren't in right triangles. Those angles are obtuse. So we have to use this thing called a reference angle. The reference angle, well, it is the side of the angle to the nearest x-axis. So if we're at 120 degrees, well, we'd have 60 more degrees to get to 180. Our reference angle for 120 degrees is going to be a 60-degree angle. Now, do you see in this quadrant, x is negative, y is positive. So the y coordinate is √3/2, and the x coordinate is negative 1/2. So we can see the sine, cosine, and tangent values. I'll show you how tangent works here in just a second of all of those angles. Now in the third quadrant, we have 210, 220, and 240 degrees. At 270 degrees, that's straight down. The coordinate is 0, -1. So 210, 225, 240 degrees. If we wanted to find sine, cosine of tangent of any of these, all we got to do is look at the coordinates. And do you see how the pattern works? Do you see how 210 degrees is really similar to 150 degrees? The signs are just different because of the quadrant in which it exists. So cosine, value of x, negative 0.707, or negative √2/2. Cosine of an angle is x, sine is the y coordinate, and the thing we're going to find out is that tangent is y/x. So tangent of an angle is actually the sine of the angle divided by the cosine of the angle. Let's see an example of that right here in our last fourth quadrant, okay? Let's use 330 degrees. Now, the coordinates go on the outside, angles go on the inside. The coordinate right here at 330 degrees is √3/2, negative 1/2. So cosine is √3/2, sine's negative 1/2, right? Now, tangent, we're saying tangent is going to be 1/2 divided by √3/2. Tangent of 330 degrees is going to be the sine of 330 divided by the cosine of 330. So we know the sine of 330 is negative 1/2, cosine's √3/2. If we multiply by the reciprocal, rationalize the denominator, we get negative √3 divided by 3. Checking that on our calculator, Oh, isn't that beautiful? Look at that. It's in the fourth quadrant, so it's negative. Boom, we're done.